Morning, everyone.
Good morning, Rabbi.
We're learning Mishnah Rosh Hashanah, Perek Dalet, Chapter 4, Mishnah 10 to Mishnah 9. Okay. Seder Tkiyos, the order of the blowings of the shofar. Shalish, shalosh, shalish. We do at 3 times, three sets. So what that means is that at the point of the bracha of Malchias, and at the point of Zachrinus, at the point of Shofris, at those points we're going to blow 3. We're going to blow 3 sets of blowing, and each one is going to get 3. Now, my understanding of the Mishnah right now is dealing with the Torah obligation, the mitzvah from the Torah, and how we apply it to the sections of Malchis, Zachrinus, and Shofris. I don't know. I don't think the Mishnah, at least the way I'm learning it, according to what I see in the commentaries, are not getting involved in the fact that we do, altogether we do 30 kailas. I just don't see that being mentioned anywhere in any of the commentaries here. The way they describe it is that by Malchis, Zachrinus, and Shofris, each one is going to get a set of 3 blowing. 3 blowing meaning what we call Tkiya, Trua, and Tekiya. We know from the Torah, won't go through the sources exactly, but we know from the Torah that you have to blow a Trua 3 times. We know also that a Trua always has to come with a Tekiya beforehand and a Tekiya afterwards. A Trua, we know, is the broken sound, the sound of short broken, a stream of short broken sounds, which we say is 9 sounds, and Tekiya is the longer sound. And we're saying that each time that you blow by Malchis, by Zachrinus, by Shofris, what you blow is a set of Tekiya, Trua, Tekiya. That is what you blow by each one. That's what it means. Shalish, shalosh, shalish. 3 sets of 3. With 3 sets of Tekiya, Trua, Tekiya, that's what you're going to do. 3 sets of 3. Trua, Tekiya is considered 3, and 3 sets is going to be by Malchis, Zachrinus, and Shofris. That is how to read the Mishnah. No one seems to be getting involved in the fact that we do, we're not getting to the question of the doubt of what a Trua is, and the fact that by each one we actually I really should be focusing on. We're focusing on this Mishnah, Malchis, Zachrinus, and Shofris. We're not talking about the blowing that we do before Musaf. We're talking about the blowings that we do during Musaf. Mm-hmm. And the blowings that we do during Musaf, we do by Musaf. At each one of Malchis, Zachrinus, and Shofris, we actually do a Tekiya, Trua, Tekiya. Just that we have a question, what exactly is a Trua? And therefore, we have 3 different ones that we do. But in essence, when we're talking about blowing but practically speaking, actually, when by Musaf, when we blow by Malchis, Zachrinus, and Shofris, we're in essence blowing by each one a Tekiya, Trua, and a Tekiya. The question is, what's a Trua? That's our practice. But essentially, by Malchis, Zachrinus, and Shofris, you are blowing a set of 3 by each one. Tekiya, Trua, Tekiya. That's what you do. Now, the Mishnah continues, Shir, Tekiya, Kashalosh, Truos. The amount or the length of a Tekiya is like 3 truas, which is explained here to mean the total length of all the tekiyas that you blow is equal to the total length of the 3 truas that you blow. Okay, the total amount of tekiyas that you blow is 6, right? Because you're blowing 3 sets of 3. So the total amount of tekiyas is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You have the 3. You have a tekiya before Trua, and a Trua and a tekiya after Trua. You got 3 sets of that. So you have 6 tekiyas, and you have 3 truas. So the Mishnah is saying that the total length of the tekiyas is like 3 truas, which means, practically speaking, that it comes out that a tekiya equals half a Trua. That's how long a Tekiya has to be. A Tekiya has to be as long as half a Trua. How long is a Trua? Depends what you hold. Some hold a Trua is 3 sounds. Some say it's 9 sounds. That's our practice. It's 9 sounds. But it's actually machlekes. Different opinions brought down on the Rav, whether it's 3 or whether it's 9. But the Mishnah is saying that the length of a Tekiya is half of a Trua. That's how much of it. That's how you have to blow it. You have to blow it tekiah that it should be the same length as half a trua. Now, talk abarishayna. Let's say you blew by the first, umashach b'shniya kishtayim, and you extended the second blow like 2. So what you're doing is like this. You are blowing. Now, let's remember, right? Let's say you're talking about you're blowing a tekiah, a trua, and a tekiah, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the first tekiah you blew regular length. Okay. The next tekiah, you decide to be a what? You decide to be a chacham. You decide to be smart. You're going to blow the tekiah after the trua long enough that it should be as long as 2 tekiyahs. And what do you want to gain? You want to gain that my extended tekiah should count as the first tekiah of the next set. Follow that? This is what this guy is trying to do. He is trying to go ahead and he's at the tekiah that's following a trua, and he blows it double long so that it counts as the tekiah for after the trua and as a tekiah for the next trua. Mm-hmm. That's what he wants to do. Says the Mishna, sorry, good try, but it only counts as one. There is no halacha to say that we take one long tekiah and split it in 2. Mm-hmm. You decided, so it comes out that your tekiah after the trua, you decided to do it double long. But at the end of the day, it only counts as the tekiah following the trua. It cannot count as the tekiah that is preceding the next trua. Now the next Mishnah, next part. Misha Beirach, somebody who said the brachas. That means basically he davened the whole Shemoneh Esrei. We're talking about the chazan here, right? Davened the whole Shemoneh Esrei. V'achrak nesmad aloi shofar, and then he landed up with a shofar. And no shofar during Musaf. No shofar. So what do? You daven. Mm-hmm. And then now you have a shofar. Now they have a shofar. What do I do now? Tekeya umeiriya v'tekeya shalosh pamim. You blow a tekiah, a trua, and a tekiah 3 times. Meaning, I don't have to repeat the Shemoneh Esrei so that I am blowing them, with the recital of Malchus, Sechrenis, and Shofris. I don't have to blow again. I don't have to daven again, so to speak, to say those verses so that I can blow the shofar with them. I will just blow the amount that I should have blown if I would have had a shofar. The total amount being 3 sets of 3. You'll do 3 times tekiah, trua, and tekiah. Okay. Now this part of the Mishnah and the previous Mishnah are connected. Why is that? Because the case of the Mishnah before was that he was blowing the tekiah after a trua. He wanted to make it long enough to count as the tekiah after the trua, and as a tekiah before the next trua. Now, how can that even be? If we're talking about that the guy is blowing tekiahs by Shemoneh Esrei, right? Mm-hmm. So when he finishes, let's say he's by Malchus, and he blows tekiah, trua, tekiah. Mm-hmm. He can't keep blowing to count as the first tekiah to the next one. He's got to go on to Zechrenis. He's got to go on to the next bracha. What's the case doesn't make sense. The answer is, you know what the case is? The case is the next case of the Mishnah, where they didn't have a shofar, and it was blowing all 3 sets together. Now the guy says, we're ready to finish davening. Everybody's hungry, wants to go home, right? So I'll try to be smart. And when I blow my first 3, right, I'll blow a tekiah, trua, tekiah, my tekiah of the first set, I'll blow it double long so it can count as a tekiah for the next set. Because in this case, he is doing all 3 together. Mm-hmm. That's where the Mishnah said you can't take one and split into 2. Okay? Then the Mishnah concludes, Kashem sheshliach tzibur chayev. Just as the person who is a shliach tzibur, just as the chazan, just as the one who is leading the service is obligated, so too each individual is obligated. Well, it means like this. The point of a shliach tzibur, right? Why did our sages institute this concept of a shliach tzibur, somebody who is saying the Shemoneh Esrei for everybody else? The answer is they didn't have sidurim. There are people who didn't know how to daven by heart. They didn't know it. So the shliach tzibur's job was basically to be motzi them, to say the Shemoneh Esrei, and his Rasah Shemoneh Esrei would count for them. That was the point. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now this shliach tzibur. Okay. So does he daven a silent Shemoneh Esrei and do a repetition? What does he do? Or he just do repetition? Answer is he does both. He does both. He has to daven a silent Shemoneh Esrei, and then he says the Shemoneh Esrei for everybody else. Everybody's got to be patient and quiet and waiting until he finishes his Shad Shemona Esrei, and then he does the repetition. Okay, so the Mishnah says, "Kashem sheshliach tzibur chayim," just as the shliach tzibur, the chazan, is obligated to daven himself before the repetition. So to each and every individual is obligated. That means if you are able to daven by yourself, you also have to daven a silent Shemona Esrei. You can't just rely on the Shliach Tzibur repetition. Shliach Tzibur repetition is only for those who are Einabaki, only for those who don't know how to daven. But if you know how to daven, the same way he does a silent Shemona Esrei for the repetition, you do a silent Shemona Esrei for the repetition. That's the opinion. That's the first opinion. Gamliel says, Shliach Tzibur moitzias harabi midei chayvasan. The Shliach Tzibur can fulfill, can cause the congregation to fulfill its obligation. Never know how to say that in English. Moitzias harabim. The way they say it here is the leader can cause the congregation to fulfill its obligation. That means anybody can rely on the Shliach Tzibur Shemona Esrei. Anybody, if they want to, they could. Okay, so Gamliel says anybody who wants to can rely on the Shliach Tzibur, and they don't have to daven a silent Shemona Esrei. Okay, so according to Gamliel, though, right, we know there is such a thing as a silent Shemona Esrei. It's not just the chazan who does it. If you think about it, right, if the Shliach Tzibur might see everyone, then no one shouldn't even bother having a silent Shemona Esrei for the Tzibur. But Gamliel knows there is such a thing. Right, we know there is such a thing. The question is how to understand it. Tanakama says, why there's such a thing as the congregation of a silent Shemona Esrei? Because if they can do it, they have to do it themselves. They have to do it themselves. Why is there a silent Shemona Esrei for the congregation? And the answer is, as explained, is the requirement for the congregation to pray silently before the leader's repetition was instituted, only to give the leader an opportunity to review the prayer before he recites it aloud. The chance for him, meaning the way I understand it is, he's going to daven a silent Shemona Esrei, but because everybody else is davening silent Shemona Esrei, he's got a little bit more time to kind of, review it over in his mind before he says it out loud. Kind of gives him more. I mean, personally, I don't know why the silent Shemona Esrei itself can't be his, so to speak, his practice run. But it seems that he would daven his own silent Shemona Esrei, and when everybody else davening silent Shemona Esrei, gives him a chance to, as they say, gives opportunity to review the prayer, the tefillas before he says it aloud, and that's why there's such a thing as the silent Shemona Esrei for the congregation. But in that sense, do they really need it? No, they don't. If they want to, they could rely on him. Now, so basically, that Miller's point is they could rely. You already could rely, but there is such an idea that if you can do it yourself, because of the fact that, you want to give the chazan a chance to review it before he says it aloud. So according to the Tanakama, if you can do it yourself, you have to do it yourself. And according to Rebbe Gamliel, you don't have to do it yourself, but there's definitely the place for voluntarily doing it. The Bar Shenua brings that interest. Now, we have to understand this discussion here, this machlekes between the Tanakama and Gamliel is all year round. We're not just talking about Rosh Hashanah here. We're talking about all year round. Interestingly, the Bar Shenua says the halacha is that all year round, if you can do it yourself, you have to do it yourself. But on Rosh Hashanah, where we've got this extra, we have these additional brachas of Shemona Esrei that people aren't so familiar with, which I understand that to mean that, again, the people who are Bucky, right, they don't have Siddur. It means they know it by heart. To know Rosh Hashanah davening by heart, that's not so simple. It's long, it's not that familiar. And therefore, there were people who still could do it, right? There were people who could do it, but the halacha is that on Rosh Hashanah, everybody, if they want to, can fulfill their obligation through the chazan. So during the year, if you can do it yourself, you got to do it yourself. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, on Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur of Yovel, when we also do the same Shemona Esrei of Musaf Rosh Hashanah. There, the halacha is that even if you are Bucky, you could actually fulfill your obligation through the repetition of the chazan. Have a wonderful day. And with this, we have concluded Maseches Rosh Hashanah. Mazel tov. Tomorrow we start Maseches Tainis.
All right.